name is Kathy, and today I'll continue the talk on the release stream. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easy to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Today we'll talk about another specific release stream theme and how to analyze them for yourself. Today, let's look at another two common release streams, the one where you meet a friend that you haven't seen in years, and falling dreams. Remember that one of the hallmarks to help you determine if your dream is a release stream or not is the fact that there's usually some very strange feature to a release stream, like a unicorn suddenly making an appearance, or a bicycle that turns into a truck, or some totally unusual circumstance occurring. Meeting a friend that you haven't seen in years in a dream. Why in the world would you dream of George Proctor, whom you haven't seen since 5th grade, or of Mrs. Fields, who was your high school science teacher, or of your closest buddy from your senior year in college? Isn't it amazing how you can bring these people back to mind in a dream? When you wake up, it's almost as if you really spent time with that person. Your old friend may have played the role of a dream companion or a dream ally, maybe even a dream enemy. Dreaming of people we haven't seen in years puzzles everyone, but it amuses us all. Interpretations of meeting a long-ago friend in a dream are limitless because the roles of your friends in the dream are limitless. Most dream analysts would interpret the presence of this old friend according to the roles they played in the dreamer's life and the role cast for the character in the dream. In general, the old friend would be seen to represent certain qualities in the dreamer's personality and behavior, or certain qualities in character form of someone important in the dreamer's current life, such as a boss, a mate, a sibling, or a friend, because we remember people from our past in simpler terms than those in the present. We vividly highlight certain characteristics and traits or certain qualities of our relationships with them, and these we use to highlight certain qualities in ourselves or our current relationships. In our first example, we have a woman that dreamt that her best friend from high school was moving into her apartment. In the dream, they both had apparently decided to live together, but she was feeling a little uncomfortable and not sure if she wanted to do this. When the woman analyzed her dream, she described her best friend from high school as a friend that she hadn't seen since high school. She liked her very much. She was a faithful friend and a very good student, responsible and dependable. Next, she asked herself how she felt about her in the dream. She answered that it was nice to be with her because she liked her so much. But she was a bit concerned about her moving in because she was a little somber, a little too serious, and she thought it might be slightly oppressive to have her living with her. Next, she asked herself if there was anyone in her current life who was like her old high school friend, as she used to be when she knew her. A good friend, dependable, a good student, but a little too somber. She said, "Well, my current boyfriend is a little like that. I really admire him because he is so dependable and so stable. I really like him. I love him. But he is a little bit like my old friend, a little bit too serious. And he wants to get more serious in our relationship. I just couldn't stand it if he turns out to be a lot like my old friend. It just wouldn't work." In our next example, we have a woman that dreamt she was in a friendly bar with her old friend Tom. They were having a good time talking about life. They went for a walk in what turned out to be a very bad part of town. Some thugs were pursuing them, and they woke up running away from them. When this woman analyzed her dream, she described Tom as being a good friend when they were youths. She hadn't seen him for a long time. She next asked herself what is his personality like. She said he was a good man, philosophically oriented, but he drank too much. He was an alcoholic, and I haven't seen him for at least a decade. Next, he asked himself, is there anyone in his life or any part of himself that was like Tom? A good fellow, a philosophical one, and an alcoholic. The woman said no, so she next asked herself, what was it like to find herself in that bad part of town running from thugs? She said it was a surprise and that they were definitely in the wrong place at the wrong time. She added, I would normally know better than to put myself in that part of town. She next asked herself, is there any part of herself or someone in her life like Tom with whom you could sit around and talk about the meaning of the world and philosophize and drink and then get yourself into trouble, being in a place you know you shouldn't be and having thugs threatening you? At this point, the woman said she had been drinking too much lately. If the truth were told, she said, at this point, the woman, If the truth were told, she had been telling herself that she was just going through a phase of self-reflection, but deep down she knew that she was playing with fire and that she was in the wrong part of this psychological town. She concluded, by drinking too much several nights a week, she knows that she was putting herself into danger. To help you analyze your dreams about meeting a friend you haven't seen in years, ask yourself these questions. 1. Describe your old friend from the dream as he or she was when you had regular contact with each other. 2. Describe how your friend was in the dream. 3. Is there anyone in your life who has the traits of this friend, or is there any part of yourself that is like your friend? 4. How so? Elaborate on the parallels that you see. 5. What is your friend doing in the dream? 6. What effect does your friend have upon you in the dream? 7. Is there any way that the actions in the dream parallels a situation in your current life? 8. How so? Elaborate on the connection if you have found one. 9. Would you say that in the dream your friend plays the role of a friend, ally, or enemy? Does your friend play a positive role or a negative one? 10. During the next few days, remember this friend and the role they played in your dream and see if you can identify these qualities or behaviors in your daily life. Now we'll move on to falling dreams. Falling dreams are perhaps the most common dreams of all. Many of us have experienced a sense of suddenly falling on the ground or slipping in some ice just as we're falling asleep and our body begins to relax. We suddenly jerk and the image in our mind is a quick scene of falling. These dreams usually do not interpret well. They seem not to be dreams at all, in fact, but quick images created as a response to relaxing and a quick jerk. Very often there are dreams of us falling back from the astral plane into our physical bodies with a jerk. These dreams are normal and usually don't have much to do with us on a psychological level. However, we may have other falling dreams during the night that involve storylines and are normal dreams. In some, we fall off a cliff or out of a plane. Sometimes someone trips us up and we fall. Other times we don't even know what precipitated the fall. We are just aware of falling and falling and falling again. Most people are very frightened during their fall, and many worry that if they fall in a dream and hit the ground, that they will die and never wake up. I can assure you that there are many dreamers who have fallen, hit the ground, and lived to tell about it. So don't worry about this. Our falling dreams can carry important messages that express anxiety and danger and sometimes self-destructive behavior. Many dream analysts have said that falling in a dream is sometimes related to the experience of having stumbled, which is registered only by subliminal memory and surfaced for some reason in the dream. Many people believe the falling dreams could also contain warnings about a potential literal fall, such as a ladder or a step that has been in bad repair and has been ignored for too long and could potentially cause a fall. Most dream analysts have interpreted some falling dreams as expressing a dreamer's fear of losing status, of being put down, or of feeling like a failure. Sometimes the falling dreams express a sense of lost control, of losing one's grip, and of being helpless and in an emotional free fall. Sometimes people who have recurring blues or depressions will dream about falling and will interpret these dreams as signaling another reoccurrence of that depression. In our first example, we have a man that dreamt that he was running along the edge of a cliff, running very fast, because he felt he had to get to wherever he was going fast. In the dream, he didn't notice a big rock in the path. He stumbled on it and fell into a huge and apparently endless abyss. He woke up just before he hit the bottom, terrified. In falling dreams, we find it especially useful to discover what was going on just before the fall, what precipitated the fall, and how these two things relate to some situation in the dreamer's life. When this man analyzed his dream, he asked himself to describe the actions in the dream just before the fall. He said that he had been running and felt very pressured to keep doing so. He knew he had to get somewhere on time, and he felt that he was late. He then asked himself if these situations reminded of anything in his life. He said, yes. Indeed, that's how he felt at work. Work was taking up most of his lifetime. He then asked himself if the rushing had anything to do with his tripping on the rock, and he said, yes. That if he had been taking his time, he would have noticed the rock. But here he was, running so fast he didn't see it and wasn't careful enough. Therefore he lost his footing and fell. He interpreted the dream to be a warning about the emotional and health dangers he was running by being always stressed and always hurried. He worried that he would hurt his physical health, or that at one point he would emotionally be incapable of keeping up the pace. He realized that not keeping up was a horrible thought because he was afraid that if he didn't keep running in his life, he would be worthless and would have no status and no wealth. In our next example, we have a woman that dreamt that she was going over to her psychotherapist's office, and as she opened the door, she stepped on a trap door and suddenly was falling down, 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 until she ended up in the sewers of the city she lived in. She was very anxious and didn't know what she would find there. She awoke quite frightened. When this woman analyzed her dream, she described a trap door as a kind of ambush, carefully planned by another person to put the victim in a completely different place. She immediately bridged this to her feeling that her therapist, in helping her try to understand the causes of her current difficulties in her relationship and at work, was ambushing her and taking her into a dark and unknown places in her life and in her psyche. She said that the sewers were useful places that kept the city functions flowing. She had never been in them and didn't know if one would find rats there or scary creatures or whatever. She said that was how she felt about exploring her deepest emotions. She was afraid that if she really let herself know what she was feeling, her feelings might be frightening or unpleasant or sad, because for years she had been trying to avoid the unpleasantness of much of her childhood. While she understood that she had been looking beneath the surface of her life, she decided that her dream experience expressed a sense of ambush and that she needed to discuss with her therapist a more consensual approach to uncovering her inner conflicts. She wanted to feel that she had a companion and guide in her travels, rather than a therapist who would ambush her and take her, without her consent, into scary places. To help you analyze your dreams about falling, ask yourself these questions. 1. What happens in your dream just before you fall? What leads up to or precipitates a fall in your dream? 2. How exactly do you feel as you are falling? Find 2 or 3 adjectives that describe your feelings. 3. Is there any situation in your life where you feel or fear falling the way you do in your dream? 4. Is there any situation in your life that is like the scene that precedes the fall in your dream? 5. If so, Can you see how the dream action preceding the fall describes potentially self-defeating or self-destructive behaviors in your current life? I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.